All right, guys, today we are going to be reacting to Stop by the German police, and here's what you need to know. Let's jump in.
Police who start asking you questions. What do you do now? What are your rights in this situation? And how can you make sure that you don't get yourself into trouble? In this video, I'm going to give you just a few pieces of advice. But first, I am not a lawyer, so this is not legal advice. Also, this video is not going to be helpful to you if you are in a very serious situation. If you've been arrested or are to be questioned as either a suspect or even a witness, then you really need to talk to a lawyer. Now, I don't want to give the impression that the German police are bad. Normally, they are professional and well-trained. It's not like some countries I could mention where you have to be very careful not to get shot. That is very rare in Germany. Let's put this into perspective. In 2019, a total of 15 people were killed by police in Germany. That is approximately 0.00002%
that's low.
of the entire population.
Yeah, that's very low. Well, usually in the Western world, it's kind of low, right? It's a very number. Very low number. But 2019, only 15 people died because of police. I mean, you know, it's a very low number. That's very good.
In the same year, US police shot dead nearly 1,000 people, which is 0.0003%. In other words, statistically speaking, you are 15 times more likely to be killed by police in the US than in Germany. However, while the German police are generally more professional, they're not perfect. And like every police force in the world, they're made up of human individuals, and not all of them are as professional as others.
So funny he has to ring the United States, right? He has to ring the United States. Well, I'll take it. It's fine. It's fine. I can handle it. I have to admit, our police force needs more training. But he's from Britain. He could have just ringed. Funny, right? I'm the first one to admit that our police force needs a lot of training. A lot of training. I mean, it's not even close, folks. A lot of these folks, they're too comfortable. They need more pressure testing training. Meaning, even though they do have a lot of encounters, right? But I think training on martial arts has to be involved in these kind of trainings. A little bit of psychology, and make sure that some of these police can just somehow get some therapy or something, right? It's not easy to see a lot of stuff you see here in the United States and just go through it like nothing happened, right? So but they need more training. They definitely. And I will say we need to increase a little bit of the standard as well. And in that way, we can not only filter some of the bad people that can be bad cop, but also, you know, filter the police force and pay police better.
Others. So you don't really need to worry about your safety, but it's still good to know your rights. The general principle is that the police cannot stop you randomly, although there are some exceptions. Normally, they need to have reasonable grounds for suspicion, and they need to tell you exactly what they suspect you of. A very important exception to this rule is the general traffic check. In Germany, police can randomly stop vehicles to check that they are roadworthy and the drivers fit to drive. They can give your vehicle a quick visual inspection, and they can also demand to see all the things that you are legally required to have in the vehicle. So a high visibility jacket, a warning triangle, and a first aid kit, as well, of course, as your driving license. But
that's a lot of requirement. Wow.
Without reasonable grounds for suspicion, they cannot search your vehicle, and they also cannot force you to take a breathalyzer test or give a urine sample or anything of that nature, at least not without your consent. So let's say you're stopped by police and asked to take a breathalyzer test because they say you look like you might be drunk. Now, you can legitimately refuse, but should you? Well, if you do refuse, then the police must consider whether they have reasonable grounds to take you to the police station for a blood test. So the risk to you, obviously, is that you get taken to the police station. The risk to the police is that actually everything's fine, you pass the blood test, there's nothing wrong, and then they've just wasted a lot of time and money. You would probably need to make your own decision on that, but what some police officers do is to demand a urine sample on the spot, which is not just inconvenient, but also massively humiliating for most people.
Wow, really? Really? Do you guys consider that to be humiliating? I would love to know. That's a very interesting perspective, folks. Very interesting.
Now, I think in a situation like that, it is worth knowing that you can refuse, and then that would force the police officers to make a decision whether to just let you go or risk taking you in for a blood test. By the way, it used to be that they needed the authorization of a judge for a blood test, but that is now no longer necessary. The second biggest exception to the no random stops rule is if you're in a situation where there is a strong possibility of criminal activity or violence. So you might be at, for example, a demonstration or an airport or a railway station or a place where criminals are known to meet. The exact rules vary from state to state, so I can't be very specific here. But in these situations, the police do have the power to stop and search random people. Anywhere.
Do you guys need a warrant? Let's say if before police go to your house, right? The police need to have a warrant or highly suspicion, I would say, right? But let's say you haven't committed any crime, but then all of a sudden they do some investigation, they find out that you are committing a crime. They need a warrant for the judge, right? I would like to know. Because that's very big in the United States. When it comes down to defending their private property, that concept in itself is very big. You can, if the police stop you and there's no reasonable doubt that you committed a crime, you cannot even tell them to. They cannot even take you out of the car. They cannot do anything. Especially now they have cameras, man. Like a lot of stuff got exposed, and a lot of police were kind of lazy. A lot of them were lazy. There's a lot of them that are very. So this goes both ways, right? So a lot of police, they're getting saved, right? Because citizens can go crazy, but sometimes you have that bad cop, right? But what I'm noticing is that because of the camera, a lot of police in the United States have gotten much better. But you guys don't have camera in the UK, right? Or I mean, not in Ukraine, Germany. I don't remember seeing no videos about police wearing like a camera in their vest. But let me know in the comment section.
Or else, they need reasonable grounds for suspicion. Here is a concrete example. It happened a few years ago when I was still living in Berlin, and I just wanted to get from one side of Alexanderplatz to the other. But I was stopped by a police officer who wanted to search my bag. I asked why, and they explained that some politician was giving a speech of some kind, and that therefore random stop and search was in effect. If I wanted to walk across the plaza, I had to have my bag searched. Well, I hadn't planned on attending this event. I didn't even know it was on. I didn't want to fight my way through a crowd of people, and I certainly didn't want to listen to some firebrand politician I'd never heard of jabber on about how useless the government is. So I told the officer that I would really rather not be searched, thank you very much, and that I would find a different route, at which point he shrugged and said, fair enough, and it was that easy. All right, so if you are stopped by
that's actually very good. That's very good.
Police, what are their rights? What are your rights? And what should you do? Well, if you're not actually being arrested, the police don't have too many rights. They can ask whatever questions they want, but the only ones that you have to answer are those to establish your identity, your name, date of birth, address, and nationality. The police can also demand to see your passport or ID card, and incidentally, you are legally required to possess at least one of those, although you don't normally have to carry it with you. In practice, in most cases, anything you have that will back up your answers ought to be sufficient. A driving license, for example. I once managed it with a bank card. Any other question you can refuse to answer.
Wow.
But of course, if you say nothing at all, the officers are likely to suspect that you have something to hide. On the other hand, if you say too much, you might accidentally incriminate yourself. So, what do you do? First,
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Police are the same mostly everywhere, bro. Police are almost the same everywhere. I mean, it's their job. I mean, you cannot blame them. See what I'm saying? Like, it's their job. They have to. They have to. They don't know if you're a criminal or not. They don't. So based on the information they're getting right in the moment, in the instance, I mean, that's what they get.
and most importantly, remain calm and polite. Don't give the officers any reason to get annoyed with you. But at the same time, whatever questions you choose to answer, answer them briefly and never give them any information that they didn't ask for. The thing to watch out for if you do encounter some of the less professional officers is that they may try to make you say more than you should. For example, if they say something like, yeah, we've been having problems with people riding scooters while stoned, do not say, oh, that's all right, I haven't had a joint all week. The classic, of course, is, do you know why I pulled you over? The only correct answer to that question is no. And that's basically it. The police don't have many rights, but some of them do have a few nasty tricks they can play on you. Be friendly, keep your answers businesslike, don't give them any information they didn't ask for, and remember that you always have the right to remain silent. But hey, the chances are that you will never need to use any of the information in this video. If this has all been just a complete waste of your time, then that's actually a good thing.
I like his sense of humor. He's very good, man. He studied the stuff very well. Yeah, but very similar to the United States. It's I think it's the only thing has to be the ID. If actually the police ask you the ID in the United States, you can, if you say I don't want to offer you my ID, I don't consent, you're okay. You don't have to, unless you're in a car, right? A car. If there's a suspicion and they need to see your ID and driver license, you should, right? But outside of that, you don't have to. Interesting. Let me know what you guys think. You think he's spot on? Do you think he might be just a little bit cuckoo, or he might be, he sounds like he knows what he's talking about, but I don't know. Let me know in the comment section below. I'll see you in the next one.